We are live on YouTube. Over to you.
Okay, thanks, Anu. That was great. So, welcome all for this webinar session. This particular session, I think, is of interest because of a lot of marketing that is happening around on coding and especially for kids. And this is the thing that a kid should learn. I mean, we have been hearing this. So, today's topic is why should your kids learn coding? I'm sure a lot of parents have joined. I see some kids have joined, but I would request those kids to go back and call their parents because this session is specifically relevant for parents. They should understand that whether coding is relevant for their kid or not, I mean, rather than blindly following what a marketing message that comes out in your TV while watching a cricket match or during your soap, between your cereals or whatever. So I request you to the kids who are there in this session, request you to let your mom or dad know that there's a session like this. They should join rather than you because you will be ultimately the benefactor. I mean, in case your parents are convinced about certain aspects, they will take a right decision about code, whether they should put you in coding or not. Okay. So the point is, why should your kids learn coding? So before I get into this session, I want few things to be set here. So in case you have any questions, we have panel members. I'll introduce you to them very shortly. In case you have any questions, please don't type it on the screen that is running over here. I would appreciate if you don't do it. Please don't type anything on the screen. Let's try our best to engage our people. You only have to listen. If you're a kid, it may not be relevant for you. It will be, you will not enjoy the session. If you're a parent, you will have a lot of questions. We have a panel of psychologists and specialists in the educational space. They will be able to answer your questions. So in case you have questions, you have a chat in Zoom, you can answer to that. And Devesh, please don't do this. And in case you have any, I mean, we also have a YouTube link. You can anyways go there and enter the details. So I'll just stop this and do it again. Yeah. So, should I mean, in case the admin, in case you know any ways to control kids scribbling on the screen, please do that. It's if there could be settings for that for sharing. All that. Yeah. So in the meantime, I'll just start. So we have our panel. My name is Arun. I've been an entrepreneur and I'm part of Learner Circle, and I've written a book, and I love teaching kids. So that's me. I have with me Sultana and Renuka. I would let them to introduce themselves. Uh, um, Anu, I would need your help to unmute Sultana because we don't. Everyone doesn't have the access to unmute themselves. So, Sultana, maybe can you introduce yourself now? Anu, you have to unmute her.
One second, Arun. Yes, Sultana, you can go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sultana. I'm a guidance counselor and an HR consultant. And I'm very excited to be here and answer any questions that some parents might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Sultana. Thank you for taking your time Sunday afternoon and helping us run this session and also answer questions that the parents might have on this. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. And Renuka, again, Dhanlakshmi Ranu would need your help to unmute her. Renuka, yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Hello, everyone. This is Renuka here. So I am a psychologist and I primarily work with kids and young adults on shaping their thinking pattern to really affect their personality and life choices across their work life and social life. So it's really great to be here, and this is a much needed topic, I would say. So thank you, Arun.
Certainly, Renuka. I'm sure we all are going to learn a lot from today's session, um, especially in this world. I mean, digital, the space that we are in, the digital space. I think there's too much of distraction for kids. I think
Very true.
the interaction that we are going to have today will help parents gain some insights, I'm sure. So I'll just move ahead at any point in time whenever I need your help, Sultana and Renuka. I'll prompt. Please help me add more value to the whole slide as
Sure,
well as
Arun.
in case you have any point to add when I am speaking, please feel free to do so.
Sure.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so I'll just move on to the next slide. So we are here. The topics that we are going to cover today. Uh, we're going to talk about coding as such, the new rat race, because we see everyone talking about it. Starting from your cricketer to a movie star, everyone is saying that coding is the next big thing. Then we have the next topic that we will be covering is what is that the children really need? What will benefit them? And then we'll get into the most important topic, whether coding is good or bad. And finally, what are the alternate choices that we have in the market, or not just the market, for your kid? What are the alternate choices that are there in learner circle or outside to engage your kid and develop their brain? So I'll move on to the next slide. So coding the new rat race, that's the topic that we are going to cover now. So you all know that you would have all seen these ads going around where they say that your kid could be the next Bill Gates or Sundar Pichai, or we have masked the brand names, giving due respect to them. But all said and done, we hear a lot about a lot of these brands. We at least know 3 or 4 brands which says that your kid could be the next TED speaker. Your kid could be the next Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. Basically, they are selling a dream. Akhilesh, don't scribble the screen, please. Uh, what they what they do is they are trying to sell a dream uh, to the parents by saying that your kid can grow and earn so much, which is actually not the right way to basically mold a kid. That's why we say that this is a rat race. I'll just stop sharing and share again because that scribble is still there. Yeah. So, kids, I request you not to scribble on the screen. Thank you. I know that you are excited when you see something on the screen. It's nice. We'll have another creative space for you to scribble. But today's session is for parents, so I request you not to scribble on the screen. Poor Bill Gates and Sundar Pichai will feel bad. So let's not make them feel bad by scribbling on their face. So, as I said earlier, we have Barack Obama, or that's the dream that the companies are selling. So, that's why we call this as the new rat race. Selling a big personality to you by saying that coding is the way to go. Okay. So, why why is it that they are selling this? Why is it that they are saying that yeah, coding is the next big thing? They are trying to actually point to brain development. Okay, but now, what are the facts of a brain development? Let's try to understand that. So 90% of your brain development actually happens in the early ages of a kid. So 0 to 6 itself are the critical years, the life of a child. That's why that's the time when the parents have to be very closer to the kids, because the connections between the cells happen at that time. So whether the connections are going to be right, good, or intelligent, whatever it is, those things happen at that time. That is the most important time when the child has to be exposed to the right thing. So, as I said, 90% of brain development happens there. It is not because of technology. It is because of the parents. It is because of the exposure that the baby gets through the family members or the kids around them. So it's very important that the kid gets the right exposure at a very early stage. In fact, recently I have been interacting with a counselor in this space. They all say that how it is very important for parents to intervene at a very early stage and understand the child's brain development. Because if you don't correct it, then the correction will never happen. So moving on, in case Renuka or Sultana, you have anything, please feel free to stop me. If you're not able to talk because the unmute functionality won't be there for you, you may have to chat and then someone will unmute you. Just letting you know in case you have to do anything. Okay, great. So what happens for kids from the age group of 7 to 11? Between 7 to 11, that's when the kids become more logical. They start becoming more organized and they start thinking about how to solve problems. Okay. They now know that to move my book from table to my bag, I need to do so many actions. To open my pencil box, this is what I have to do. To ride a cycle fast, I need to do this. Okay. To hit a ball fast, I need to do this. So they will understand all this. Okay. So they will understand whether their hand-eye coordination will be better. Those things, I mean, everything related to the logical aspect, they'll start understanding in that 7 to 11 years. And 12 plus years, they will start understanding the abstract concepts. So when you talk about coding, I mean, in case there are software engineers here, a lot of things are abstract, right? You know that a lot of concepts that they tell you, they wouldn't even know what is the end product. They'll only build based on some abstract things that are being informed to them. So for a kid, it will be very difficult to understand what that abstract concept is. Okay, so a 12 plus year kid will start slowly understanding what that abstract is all about. For example, if you say that Netflix is able to suggest a new movie based on your previous movie patterns, based on the kind of movies that you watched earlier, and there's an algorithm running in the background, a 7 to 11-year kid will not even try to understand what you're trying to say. Whereas a 12 plus year old kid will at least try to check with you, what do you mean by saying there is an algorithm running, and that is how they are trying to understand my behavior and then suggesting a movie. They'll ask those questions at least to you. So it's very important what is being taught to your kid. So if you're saying machine learning and artificial intelligence and space tech is going to be taught for your 10-year-old kid, you are you are not sending the right message to the parents. I mean, the kid, it's very difficult for the kid to understand that. Okay. So whereas if you're saying it's logical and organized, yes, they'll understand. So that's the marketing part I'm talking about. I mean, whatever certain companies are selling when they say your kid could be the next Sundar Pichai because they will learn EA and ML at the age of 8. Okay. So what is that the kid needs? Okay, and at this point in time, maybe in a slide or two, I will let Renuka and then Sultana to give their views. Admin Anu or Dhanlakshmi, please help me unmute them so that they can come online and speak about it. What is that the kid needs? See, kid needs to be exposed. When you see a movie, a kid's room, how is it designed? It is designed in a very creative way. When you go to a kindergarten school, how have they designed the place? They have designed it in such a way that the creative juices come out for the kid. The kid looks at apple, they understand what apple is. They are asked to touch apple. They are asked to play with things around them. So they need ultimately physical activities. Kids need physical activities. Corona has been bad for kids, yes, because they are not allowed to go out, they are not allowed to play in park, they are not allowed to play with kids around them. there have been a lot of problems for kids actually because they are all confined to their home itself. Now, kids need physical activities because that will push their creative juices, and that keeps them curious because that will prompt them to ask questions. That's very important. So they should understand why is a chair sitting like this? Why is that you have to sit on a chair? Why is that you have to go to a place in a scooter or in an airplane or in a train? If they're asking those questions, that's good. We should prompt them for that. Okay. And that is also the time for you to introduce new skills and experience for the kids. So taking them to different places where new skills are taught, so they understand what will. So you will also know what is triggering interest for them, whether it's a painting or a music or a guitar or swimming, whatever it is. And most importantly, they need to bring that to improve their emotional quotient and bring calmness in them. A little bit of meditation and good sleep are very important for kids. So I actually at this on this slide I would request Renuka, maybe Renuka, if you have been unmuted, maybe you can add some point, maybe from the previous slide onwards, if you have some points to add, or you can get onto this slide. You can let us know what you think, your views on kids' interests, because we have been doing research on this. We have been discussing about this a lot. So yes, Renuka, over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Arun. So until now, Arun has really been telling on what is really healthy for the kid and how to get their creative juices flowing. And we also saw a bit on the cognitive development, the milestones for each age. So one thing that I had in mind while we were doing this research is that the emotional quotient of the child. The reason being that when the child is typically between, say, 7 to 11 years, their emotions really play a role in shaping the way they think. So if you're going to put your child in a highly competitive space and say they don't perform really well, so that can really have an adverse effect, and they might never want to try out something new, or they would always have this some sort of fear, to really engage in something complex. And having that background in mind, we designed this concept. So if you look at these categories, the first three are nothing but something to do on personality. So how the child is really open to new things and curious about new stuff. And conscientious is again how they are really, they maintain some sort of self-discipline and how they're very organized in their work structure. And self-esteem is to do all about their confidence. So how a kid really feels about taking a particular course and how they feel about actually going through with it. And this is actually one of the most important things that often is left out in the curriculum, because everyone wants their kid to be everything possible. So somehow the self-esteem somewhere gets damaged, I would say. And the last category, it's pretty self-explanatory. So with the brain dominance, if your child is right brain dominant or left brain, or it has a neutral dominance, so which side is your child really leaning on? So what we discussed was that if somehow we take into these parameters and design, tell some more information about your kid, it will really help you identify and know more about your kid's interests. And ultimately it will be healthy for your kid to actually engage in that. So you'll know if your child is going to coding or something else. You'll know if that they're still having a high level of confidence about themselves, if they're still very curious to actually learn about coding, or is it that they want something else. So that's precisely the question that will be answered when you take into account their emotional personality and brain dominance traits. So that's the basic idea. So if you have any questions, maybe we can save it for the end. Arun, do you want me to go further, or is this good to go?
We are good. I mean, anything you want to share in this particular concept? I mean, you talked about left brain and right brain. I can also
Right.
speak, but in case you want to share your view.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can. So, according to left brain, right brain, my personal, opinion as a psychologist will be that there is a lot of standardized tests that tell you if your child is left brain or right brain, but the very easy way is to really observe their behavior in certain activities. If say the very easy way is to look at your child's notes making, like how they write. So if you look at our school method, it's always top to bottom. But say if they're a right brain person, so they really like to scribble all over and maybe have the notebook in a landscape form. And that's the reason why we really encourage people to do that, so that it because your brain really views anything in a very landscape way. But this is just one of the few things, and there are a lot more traits which actually give you a hint on what dominance your child has. But that being said, there's also something called plasticity, which is nothing but how much your child's brain can actually be modified through some external situations. Like, for example, here it would be doing new courses or complex and creative courses. So even if you take one of these tests and you get to know that your child is left brain, it does not mean that they lack all these characteristics of creativity and imagination and all the other things. But it just means that somewhere it's relatively less compared to the right brain. So all the parents here, I don't want to scare you saying that your child will have zero creativity if they're left brain. So that's just the one insight I wanted to share, Arun, because that's not really told. When people speak of brain dominance, they really look at it as black and white, whereas it's not. It's really about enhancing what is lacking in the child. Yeah.
Completely agree. Completely agree. I think it's a wonderful point. Rightly pointed. Good that this slide you explained. So, guys, I was the one who was supposed to talk on this. Great. I let you talk on this, and I think you point out that. I mean, there are actually exercises. I mean, in case
Right.
parents think that they should have a good balance, or a little bit of creativity is always good when you have logic, or a little bit of logic is always good when you have creative. So some exercises are there, which I think you can always find on YouTube and other platforms. But
Right.
your child counselor will also be able to give guidance on those things. So take the right approach is what I mean. There's nothing called right here. That's what she's saying. So just be open to what your kid is doing and let them explore it. So yes, this is the most important thing: screen time. Yes, I mean, it's like we are screaming now. We all know that kids are spending a lot of time in front of TV, games, social media, whatnot. I mean, mobile phones. So I mean, we are very proud when we say that my kid knows everything on what is there in my mobile phone. I mean, your grandparent will be very proud in saying that my kid knows. I mean, 5-year-old kid knows how to unlock my phone and make a call to someone. They know how to open WhatsApp and type. So yes, it is good in one way, but on the other end, there's a problem that's coming to us. So as a statistics done, I mean, based on the survey done by Centers for Disease Control in US, your 8 to 10-year-old kid is actually spending 6 hours per day, which is very bad, both for their eyes and brain, because they are not exposed to parental love or things that are real. They are being exposed to things that are very, very unreal, which is some characters in the mobile. Okay, so that goes up heavily when you are when you are 18 plus, because you start to use multiple apps to basically any of those social media apps and other things, emails and all that, because of which you spend a lot of hours uh, on screen time. You do it to get that instant gratification. You spend a lot of time, the kids spend a lot of time to get that satisfaction that yes, I am winning now, yes, people are liking me, uh, yes, I am ahead of this person in this particular game. That is actually the problem, more than the screen time, the instant gratification part, which is actually going to affect their emotional aspects also. So in fact, during COVID, this is all before January. So we can assume that the lockdown started not just in India, across the globe, started after Feb or March. Things would have, I mean, these numbers would have gone at least by 1.5. I mean, easily up by At least for 8 to 10 years, it will have gone up to 10 hours. So what is that we are saying is, how do we make this screen time more productive? How do we give a purpose to the technology that we have on our hand in front, right? So let's get on to that. So that's when we are talking about the coding course, whether it is good or bad. So we are going to, whatever Renuka had explained so far, based on that, we are going to basically touch upon certain aspects of coding and understand whether it is good or bad for the kid. The moment we talk about coding, the things that comes to our mind is some multiple lines of codes that are written with lot of syntax, some dot, semicolon, angle brackets, this, that, parenthesis. So that's what we all see, right? I mean, at least that's what has been told to us by the engineers around us, right? But what is coding? Coding actually lets you explore certain concepts, certain things that you are doing in a day-to-day life, which you may not have thought as a step-by-step procedure, but yes, it exposes you to certain basic concepts. And then it also gives you how to structure the whole problem and solve them, right? Which is anyway connected to your logical thinking. Of course, it leads to creativity because you are going to create your own problem and you are going to solve them, right? A simple problem, if I had to show an example, which I'll be showing in next few minutes, I can show you why a coding kind of concept, a kid should have an exposure without any expectation, in the sense, okay, today I'm learning coding because tomorrow I want to be Sundar Pichai. No, it should not be like that. It should be because you want to learn something, you want to be exposed to something, apart from other things that you're playing, like cricket or football or swimming, whatever you're doing, or music, right? It also exposes the kid to the STEM, right? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. All the concepts of your science, maths, and technology are covered in a coding course. So your kid will be exposed to all that. What is bad about the whole thing, the advertisements that we see and all that, the parents are falling into the social pressure, because the whole concept that, okay, the kid can be, when a famous cricketer comes on the screen and says that forget about whether I'm a cricketer or not, but coding is the next thing for my kid also. And that's making it basically the message that is being sent is that you have to be very ambitious, you have a big dream to achieve. No, for a kid at that age, they don't even know what is the career that they're going to take up. So there's no point pushing them with such a dream. So, and the most important thing is letting parents say, I mean, marketing it by saying that the kid is going to build an AI application, artificial intelligence or a machine learning application, and the investors are waiting outside the house. No, they are all very, very inappropriate for a kid, because the kid has just learned how to cycle. The kid has just learned how to go from his place in Chennai to his house in Chennai to his grandma's place and maybe Ponneri. That's the only thing that they know. You should not be making them. You should not be confusing them by saying that you should do this, you should do that, you have to achieve this big. No. So that's why that is the good and bad part about whatever is happening in the coding space for kids currently. So I'll just show you what is a coding platform actually. Okay. So this platform is free for anyone, code.org. So just like your Macs, in case we know addition, we know subtraction, we know multiplication. We may even know we're able to solve problems like when you're going to shop, you're adding so many numbers and telling that whether the shopkeeper did the right calculation or not. Right? When we do all that, if we can do all that, we can also teach our kids. But we still depend on a Max tuition teacher to teach our kids Max. Just like that, this coding can be taught by the parents. A parent who can read what is written over here can actually do it. But there are certain people who are trained to teach how this is, so that the kid also learns along with them. For example, this is a coding problem for a kid. Can you write a program that makes, okay, they were written as George, actor 1, move to Olive the cat and have Olive say, hi there, when George reaches there. Okay, so the character 1 is George here and Olive the cat is over here. So the action is, when the code runs, this character has to move over here and the cat should say hi there, right? Now, we ask the kid to do this program. How do we do it? You only have blocks over here which needs to be placed onto the right hand side. Okay, so here the kid is being introduced to something very creative. The kid is asked to read and understand what the statement is all about. There's no pressure, there is no comparison over here. The kid is asked to just read what the statement means, and the kid is asked to execute the program. Okay, so they are saying actor 1 has to move to Olive the cat. Okay, so let's say I move this block. Okay, I move this block over here. Okay, so what does this say? When actor 1 touches actor 2, move actor 1 right by 25 pixels. That is wrong. So we'll explain the kid that that is wrong. You should actually say that when you run the program, the actor, which is George, has to move right by 25 pixels. Now the kid will not even understand what pixel is, but you are letting them experiment. So what does this mean? The kid will run. Oh, this guy moved by a few spots. We can explain to them, right? Now, then we will tell the kid, see, the George actually moved right by some distance and you are in the right direction. Now he has to touch the cat, right? So what do we do? You say that, drop down and try the next number, 50. Now you are introducing logical reasoning. What does 50 mean? So now the kid will know that the person, the George is here. Oh, this guy has moved a little further. So we can explain to them by 50 pixels extra, by 50 when you put, George has moved a little further. Now the kid is now allowed to experiment. He now puts 100, right? Then what happens? Yes. So the actor has actually touched the character. George has actually touched the cat, right? Now, what was the question? When George touches the cat, he has to say hi there. So actor 2, which is the cat, has to say what? Hi there. Correct? That's it. The puzzle is solved. So this is what is actually the coding. This is what is being taught in coding for kids. Okay. The word coding might look complicated, but actually the kid is exposed to something very creative. And this is the next game. So there are games like this. Okay. So why I want to do this is basically to remove the misconception from the parents that coding is actually some syntax plus some complex stuff that an engineer who studies after, I mean, basically 12 plus 4 years of after 12 plus 4 years of education, an engineer does in an AC room. That's what a kid is going to do at the age of 8. No, whether age of 8, 9, 10, they'll be exposed to a platform like this so that they read, they understand the problem that is mentioned over here, and then just execute them with the available blocks and experiment. So they understand that. So there is a logical aspect to it, there's a creative aspect to it. They try to understand, they comprehend the statement that is written over here. That's the whole objective. Okay, so I just want to show this demo, but I think I've been talking a lot. Anyone has, maybe Renuka or Sultana, you want to share something at this point, or you think we should go till the end? I mean, admin, can you please help them unmute? Their input would be very nice. So. Okay, can you unmute Sultana here, please?
I think Sultana has something to add. I can see that.
Yeah. Sultana, can you please unmute Sultana?
Hi, Arun. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the issue here is the expectation of parents rather than the coding itself. As you correctly mentioned, parents come in thinking that, my child is going to be a genius, a mathematical genius or a computer genius after this. And that is the wrong mindset. And I completely agree with Renuka also on the left brain and right brain. And I just wanted to add there for parents who, because I have worked as a school counselor and psychologist as well. So the easiest thing of if parents don't know how to see whether their child is left or right dominant, see the sequence of their maths in their paper or when they're working out their math homework. Children who go step by step are most likely left brain because they're sequential learners. And the ones who arrive at the answer and simply cannot show steps or find it difficult to show steps, those are the ones who are actually right-brained. And as Renuka correctly mentioned, it doesn't mean that you don't have the facilities of the other hemisphere. All of us are able to use both our hands, left hand and right hand, which means both sides of your brain are working. It's just that maybe I may be right-handed, Arun may be left-handed, and Renuka may be ambidextrous. So what we need to get to is, where we can balance out and maximize the usage of both the hemispheres of the brain. So that's what I wanted to add. Sorry, Arun, I have disrupted the flow of your presentation. It was going beautifully.
No, Sultana. I mean, I think you added a great flavor to the whole presentation now. So
All
thanks
right.
a
So
lot.
I'll hand it over to you back again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Sultana. Thanks for those wonderful thoughts. Yes, I think that's the whole message. I mean, that's the crux of the story. I mean, that's what you want to say in this particular session. Basically, whether coding is good or bad depends on how the parents take it. It's a very, very simple tool, just like the building blocks that a kid plays at the age of 5 or 6. It's just that. Just don't be over ambitious. I think that's the whole point. Yes. So what are the alternate choices? Okay. Now, you would be surprised. I mean, most of you would know that music actually enables a lot for brain development, especially in academics. And if you think if your kid is going to a music class doesn't help her in maths, no. Her or him in maths, no, that's wrong. Actually, music helps a lot in most of the academic subjects. So I'm not going to read each of these items over here. Yes, music has a lot of benefits. You should let your kid explore. It also brings a lot of stability in them and makes them actually use both their left and right brain. There are options like this, logical options. In case you don't want your kid to be exposed to coding, there are logical options like chess, or you might know this game. People from Tamil Nadu will know this game, Aaadu, puli, aatam. Yes, such games are there. They actually trigger a lot of logical aspects in kids. Then to kindle curiosity, in Learner Circle itself, we have sessions like around the world in 40 minutes where we let kids explore different countries and explain the culture and history behind certain things, I mean, the important places in those countries. So such sessions actually have a lot of, I mean, the tutor student interaction is very high because it kindles a lot of curiosity in them. Of course, our own mythological stories from our Vedas or from Hindu mythological stories or any other religious stories that are there, they also kindle a lot of curiosity because they teach the way of life. They teach how to behave in a society. They teach how to respect people around you. So those things are very important for kids to learn at a very early stage. They should be exposed to these things so that their brain connections are rightly done. Okay, so we are we are almost we are in the last slide, not almost, we are in the last slide. I'm going to hand it over to Sultana and Renuka for to answer a lot of questions that are coming over here. But in the meantime, I just want to share this, the courses that are there on Learner Circle. We have coding, we have chess, we have spelling, vocabulary, uh, different courses like that. For logical stream, that is the thing. For languages, we have, it's very important that kids are exposed to languages. That also helps them improve their brain power. So it's very important that they get exposed to different languages at a very early stage. They don't have to be an expert. It's just that they need to be exposed to such languages. Then if they have interest and if they want to grow in that, of course, you should let them grow. We have activities like origami, calligraphy, handwriting, Zentangle. Such activities are there, which are more very creative. Of course, we have fun activities like Aaadu, puli, aatam, stories and around the world, which I said help them kindle curiosity and also improves logicalness. Yes, we have yoga and music also. So this is what Learner Circle is all about. So we have thought through on these aspects on why a holistic development is important for a kid, and we have designed our courses. And we are not saying you should be any of them. You should be what you are. Let's not go after any big dreams. So with that, I am going to stop my the session, I mean my presentation, and I'll let. We'll start handling the questions that are there. So in case you have any questions, please start typing them on the chat. We'll start answering them. And if there are also questions that might have come on YouTube channel, please let us know. That means if you can post those questions over here, maybe we can have Renuka or Sultana answer them as well. Okay, so there is a question. So someone can unmute maybe Sultana or Renuka. There's a question here. How different is it when parents expect kids to become? You can also see, I believe, Sultana or Renuka. Who wants to take it? Maybe you can come online and answer. Renuka or Sultana, who wants to take that question? Renuka can take it, she's saying. So can you unmute, please? You can please unmute Renuka and Sultana so they can talk. Sorry, Renuka and Sultana, we have controlled this because we realized that some kids have joined, they are unmuting and muting. That's why we have controlled the whole thing. Please unmute Sultana and Renuka now, please.
Yes, so thank you for the question, Mr. Divakar. So I presume you're asking us why shouldn't parents expect kid to learn code when they can expect their kids to become engineers and doctors. So if I understood that right, I would go ahead and say that I think the difference now is that when compared to before, see, now everything is really transparent, and people have these personalities in mind when they select coding as a course. And that's the only problem. The problem is not expecting your kid to learn to code, and because that's a very healthy expectation any parent can have. But it's just having this big attachment, to certain personalities and idolizing them, because that becomes a lot of pressure on the kid. Because when you look at engineer or doctor, you don't really name a person and say that you become like that person. Engineer, you become that doctor. You just generally say that the subject is good, it has a maybe well established or lucrative path, go ahead. But in coding, what happens is, since it's really put in a very large social context, these personalities become etched in their mind so much that somewhere that creates a pressure. And that's the reason we really brought up this whole concept, and we wanted to put it out. So I hope I answered that. So again, expecting your kid to learn coding is really fine. It's just not to create that implied pressure into them.
Yeah, just adding there. So the coding, uh, the actual coding versus what a kid is getting exposed in a coding platform like code.org. So there was a question in YouTube that how would I know if my kid is interested in coding? So just take them to code.org. It's a very simple platform. Ask them to just drag and drop things, understand the statement, see if they are interested. If they love to play, control the screen time that they have. Let them not spend the whole day and night on code.org and spend their whole day doing it. Control their screen time. If they are liking it, maybe there is a interest in maybe logical or coding related concepts. So you can then encourage them. So there's one question. Today's marketing techniques are projecting coding lessons as a kid's golden ticket to a better future. What kind of impact does this have in a child's mind?
Yes, Sarun. So to answer that, again, thank you. This is a wonderful question. So from a kid's perspective, between the age of 7 to 11, they have just begin to understand what logical thinking is, what it is to think from someone else's point of view, and only then they're actually somewhere identifying themselves as being a part of a group. They form all these peer circles. Now the reason I'm saying this is because they're still very naive in their mindset. So when you project something very rigid to a kid who is just developing his or her thinking skills, they become very fixated on that. So because they don't understand what realistic options are, what other options are. Like say I learn coding and I don't open this grand startup, but then I can maybe become a consultant. I don't know, but that line of thought a kid will not have. So kid will only want to become that one personality and assume that say whatever they're projecting, say they're projecting Google CEO. So Google CEO equals better future. Like no Google CEO, no better future. So that's the only line of thinking they will have. This is again very pressurizing for the kid to have, because they will not be able to tap into other spaces or other reams of thought as easily as a kid who's not been projected this. So I wouldn't say today's marketing is really bad, but it's how, like, so a bit of marketing and bit of what parents really input. So if you show your kid this poster saying you have a golden ticket to future if you do coding, but then you sit and make the kid understand that this is just one of the things you do, you might like it, you might not. So if you give that balanced perspective, then it might not affect the child's mindset. Yeah, I hope that was clear.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, there is, I think Sultana actually covered this. I've been hearing about right and left brain. Even in this session, you spoke about it, how I really know whether my kid is left or right, and how do we get that balance. Sultana covered it, but Sultana, do you want to just add a little bit more on what you had already spoken? Like, how do we get that balance? Is it really required or whatever? I mean, maybe that question you could answer, Sultana, if you don't mind. Sultana needs to be unmuted. Okay, then I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Aruna, here I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. You definitely want to balance out learning in both the hemispheres. I mean, Renuka would have already, covered. Brain is a fascinating organ, and the maximum you utilize it, you will be amazed at, how much potential is still there to tap. So you definitely want to utilize maximum of both the hemispheres. So I did speak on how you can identify which is left brain, who is left brain dominant and who is right brain. And if you feel that one of them is less, what you do is you try and promote activities. For example, if your child is more of a sequential learner, you might want to introduce art in their program that comes under the right hemisphere, creativity. Let them get bored and try to create things out of just a wooden box, or art lessons or whatever. So that kind of stimulates that area. They don't have to be great at it, but you just want to stimulate that area. And similarly, if they are right brain dominant, you want to take up activities, that help them go step by step, because those steps, sequential learning is a real problem with the right dominant children. Um, Also, there was this earlier question saying what was the impact of coding. So I just wanted to add to Renuka's research as well that there has been ample research in this area. It may look like it's absolutely new here because of the marketing, sudden flush of marketing that has been going on recently. But from nearly 2012, we have substantial research and data on, coding with children as early as there was a BERS study in 2012 where they had introduced programming and coding to kindergarten, even till 12. So the question is, how early can we start, and is there any difference? So that completely substantiates what Renuka and Arun have been saying, that under 8 there was no difference. They introduced it. Every child was given in a classroom, particular classroom for a pilot study, iPads, and they had small bit what kindergarten children can understand. And they saw no substantial difference till first or second grade. From second grade, that is 7 years onwards, is where they are less dependent on visual clues. Till then, the child has got only concrete learning and visual clues. And it is only after 7-8 years that they start into what we call pre-operational learning, where they understand abstract concepts, which Arun had showed in the slides. So when you are able to understand abstract concepts, that's when they start to build. So if you introduce coding or programming only from 8 years onwards, it can be of some benefit. Now, what impact and benefit that the parent asks, it's according to the studies that we have and research, you have in casual, that is logical reasoning, you have in spatial abilities, you have a lot in verbal and social reasoning. So these are areas where your child will benefit from coding. Mathematical ability, it is a kind of, actually the coding did not lead to better mathematical ability, but mathematical ability did aid in coding better. And so it was a very symbiotic relationship. So if at the end of it, you're asking me, if it's not going to give, because people seem to, parents, adults, they take logical reasoning and these other dimensions of cognitive domains very casually, very dismissive, that, logical reasoning, it's not a big thing, why should we put? But logical, you will be surprised to know, I handle HR as well. And in the very industries or the companies that you want your children to go in, whether it is Google, Microsoft, a lot of the big tech companies, the artificial intelligence that we are talking about, when they test you, they are looking for logical reasoning, because that shows, that is the highest predictor of a successful employee in tech companies or in any companies. That shows your problem solving abilities. So don't take that, it's not just about math and computer science. Logical reasoning is a real thing, and it comes from so many things, like Arun said, from games that we have had, from mythology, and also from coding. So I hope I answered that well. Thank you, Arun.
Sure. Thank you, Sultan. Sultan, don't unmute now.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, because we'll have more questions, Sultana and Renuka, so that you can answer them one by one. I also have a thought that we parents are imposing our thoughts into kids. Uh, Anything that you have to say on that? I think the answer is yes, yes. Yes, yeah, we have to control. Correct. Take right measure.
Someone said that's been
That's
happening
true.
for centuries.
Happening for centuries.
I think the answer is with the parents themselves.
Okay, will kids actually be able to grasp coding at the age of 6 or 7, or if not? Okay, so I think this is the last question before we just wrap it up. Code.org, let me tell you, is not a programming language. Code.org, you all can go there. It is not a programming language. It is just teaching sequencing, algorithm, logical reasoning to the kids. Okay, so the kid is not being exposed to some C++, Python, Java, all that. No, the kid might be exposed depending on the kind of companies that you enroll them, but the intention of code.org is not to expose them to that the typical syntax based coding with so many parameters and all that. No, they can be very, very light. Okay, they can be very light. So this is done by, I believe, if I'm not wrong, from Harvard. So they have built it for kids to basically do that. Yeah. Okay, so any closing statements from you, Renuka and Sultana, before we wrap this up?
I think my only comment will be that whatever motivation or encouragement, when done in moderation, will be healthy for the kid, for the parents, for the family. And ultimately, that kid will be healthy enough mentally and academically to achieve success at some point. That's what I would say. But it's been a great session so far, really eye-opening.
Thank you, Renuka. Thanks for taking your time. Sultana, your thoughts, final thoughts?
I think it's been a great presentation and very stimulating. Thank you, Arun, for inviting us, and good questions from the parents as well.
Thank you. It was a pleasure having both of you in this session, because I'm sure the parents are able to take a lot of insights from you all. When we are working on and off with you to build a curriculum, so there are things that are being supported by you. So thanks a lot for all the support that you have been showing to us. And for parents who have joined this session and the ones who are watching us live on YouTube, thank you for joining this session and patiently watching and asking these wonderful questions. I'm sure people who might watch this video later on, they'll get a lot of interesting insights on what is happening in the market and what, as a parent, as a responsible parent, you should do to ensure that your kid is not put into this social pressure. So let the kid be what they are. Let them get exposed to what they should be. Let them be exposed to everything that is around them. With those closing words, I would like to thank you all, and thanks for this wonderful session, Learner Circle. We will connect again for such a session, and until then, bye.
Thank you, and bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.